after Donald Trump repeatedly said we need Greenland on Air Force One just a couple of days ago. Moments ago, the White House has said that the administration is discussing acquiring Greenland and that they will, and that utilising the US military is always an option. The spokesman said they're looking at purchasing the country and that it would be during Trump's current term, and they reiterated Trump has made clear that acquiring Greenland is a national security priority. The governments of Greenland and Denmark have requested a meeting with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Let's now talk to former United States Ambassador to Denmark, Carla Sands. Carla, what a pleasure to have you with me this evening. Now, you know this country incredibly well. You know Greenland well. You know Denmark well. Just your reaction to the way this has unfolded in such a short space of time, please.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast events have developed since President Trump came into office less than a year ago. From saying we need to own Greenland right out of the box to beginning to discuss it over and over. And then his actions in Venezuela, his warning to Iran, and then saying this, but especially his deep desire to make sure that the Western Hemisphere is secure is a very exciting thing. It's exciting to watch because things happen when President Trump moves his team and intends to make changes.
So when he says he wants to acquire Greenland, what's your understanding of that?
Well, I'm not sure what he means by that. I saw the word buy, purchase. So I'm not sure what he means by that, because a COFA, free association with Greenland, wouldn't cost the United States any money up front. I'm sure the Greenlanders would prefer to continue the kind of economic welfare that they receive from Denmark every year, which is around $600 million a year. But there are benefits to having that relationship. I'm sure Denmark benefits economically far more than $600 million a year with the resources that are pulled out of the water and the ground in Greenland. So there's a close relationship with Greenland and Denmark, but Denmark can't afford to develop Greenland, and it also will never be able to defend it.
What will the people of Greenland think about this?
Well, I think it's really up to the people of Greenland, but they have said over and over again that they want to go independent. They intend to be independent from Denmark. They really don't generally like Denmark. Denmark was an oppressive colonial power 100 years ago. They would, before World War II, actually, they wouldn't let the Greenlanders own rifles. They wouldn't let them own kerosene lanterns. These were like fantasy things for the Greenlanders because the Danes kept them living almost like Stone Age people. They did not let them modernize. Once the military, our U.S. military, occupied Greenland from World War II until in the 90s when the Berlin Wall fell and we all took that peace dividend, we left those bases, those ports, those airports, and turned them over to Denmark.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, TallyMoney is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. What is TallyMoney?
Well, at TallyMoney, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code, an account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. But we still need money in our daily lives, and we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just live in credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning, You need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponize against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward. And that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
Okay, brilliant. Cameron Parry from TallyMoney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
And so China apparently tried to buy into the Greenland's mines at one point, quite recently, I think, and those projects were blocked by the EU, citing climate concerns and environmental issues. Is that the kind of thing that America could now do, is to invest in the country, to get involved in the mining of these minerals? And when Trump uses the word, we'd like to buy Greenland, what he's talking about is investing in the country to potentially the benefit of Greenland as well.
Well, a couple of things there. First of all, I'm not sure that he means buy into the mining. I think he may mean a cash transfer to Denmark to take control of Greenland. I'm just speculating. I am not speaking for the administration. But as far as those mines go, when I got to Denmark as ambassador, Greenland, the majority of those mines had a minority interest owned by the Chinese. A majority of the mines were partially owned by the Chinese. There was almost no American investment up there. And so to see that and then see China try to pull Greenland into the Belt and Road Initiative, they tried to finance and build airports in Greenland, 3 of them. And we know Greenland wouldn't have been able to service the debt and they would have been poorly built. And then China would have taken some economic control. Well, Denmark didn't allow that to happen. We worked with Denmark and Denmark actually financed those airports, and then China declined to build them once they couldn't finance them. So you can see more debt trap diplomacy right off our coast, our northeast coast.
Carla, is what we're witnessing here with Trump in 2026 are individual proxy battles all around the world against China and Russia under the auspices of something else? Is that what's actually happening here?
Well, I think it's a little more complicated by that, but you could almost boil it down to that. If you see what President Trump just did in Venezuela, let's not forget Iran, who had a firm hold there. Iran was more powerful there than Russia or China.
Yeah.
And they had Hezbollah there with terrorist training camps, and they were spreading that throughout South America and the Caribbean. Very bad in the U.S. backyard. Unbelievable that it was allowed to go on by prior administrations. So thankfully, President Trump has turned his attention to our hemisphere. It is the new, updated Trump version of the Monroe Doctrine. And he's saying we're not going to allow our adversaries, namely Russia, China, and Iran, to set up shop in our hemisphere and threaten the United States and our allies.
And so can we only assume that Biden was asleep at the wheel whilst all this was going on? And presumably also President Trump didn't get as sort of strong a handle or a grip on this situation as he might have wanted to in his first term. And I wonder why he didn't.
Well, first of all, remember that Chavez took over Venezuela about 25 years ago. So this has been a generation and more. So it actually happened a long time ago in 2000, and no president was able to get on top of this and make the change. President Trump did try to in his first term. He actually recognized Guaido as the democratically elected leader. And when he tried to move, he was so hamstrung and under the oppression of the FBI and intelligence community war on him and his administration with the Russia collusion hoax that they boxed him in. And it was very hard for him to make bold moves that he needed to make and was capable of making. But these 4 years in the wilderness during the, yes, sleepy Joe Biden years, they allowed President Trump and his team to get ready and to know what they were going to do to make the changes necessary to secure not just the American people, but our allies and friends.
Yeah. So interesting, Carla. Thank you so much. What a great guest on that story tonight. Former United States Ambassador to Denmark, Carla Sands there.